Yo, hey, DJ.
Wes, what's going on, man?
Hey, man, did you know there was a boxer named Archie Moore who is considered the king of knockouts? He was the longest world light heavyweight champion of all time with 131 of his career 186 victories were by knockout.
That's impressive. I think I have a couple more, though.
A couple more?
No, I don't. I'm just joking.
All right. Hello, friends, and welcome to the Live, Love, Wylie podcast, hosted by Wes Dorsey and DJ Shirley. Connecting people in the city we live and love.
Wes, that was an interesting fact. And just, I mean, while we're on that topic, I just want to thank our sponsor, Core Power, today. Please send us free drinks.
Elite chocolate, 42 grams of protein.
I need you to send us some free stuff. No, that was good. But I want to make it a point, because I get in trouble if I don't, is I want to thank our Live, Love, Wylie band for being here, as usual.
I mean, they're in here on a snowy day.
I was going to make reference to that. As we're sitting here, those of you that have been to the podcast studio, you look outside of our door here, and it is literally snowing in Wylie right now while we're recording this. And it's probably 14 degrees outside right now. I don't know what it actually is.
I mean, it's pretty cold. It's pretty cold.
It feels like negative 20, because I'm from Texas. I don't like any of this. Wes, we've got a podcast to do, right?
We do. It never stops.
It never stops. Who do we have today?
Man, we've got a power couple from Wylie here in the fitness industry.
Well, do you have? We don't have that one.
It. No. We
It
got Mr. Wes Linsley and his wife Tanya are both here joining us in studio, and they are the owners of Alpha Family Fitness.
Well, let's give them, since we don't have, let's give them. Welcome, you guys. It is good to have y'all here.
Good to be here.
Super excited to be here.
This is I'm going to make sure that I stay out of the shot because I get in trouble. The camera's behind me. So, I mean, people are going to want to know. Obviously, Wes just introduced you. Wes introduced Wes and Wes's wife from Wes. Okay, it's awesome. We'll get this down eventually. But people are going to want to know that don't know, what is Alpha Family? Obviously, we got some really cool video playing here, so people are going to get maybe a little behind the scenes. But in your own words, I mean, tell people, what is Alpha Family Fitness? What is it? What is it about?
We're just a community, man. We started with boxing, turned into some strength. Family's a big dynamic in that gym. Obviously with ours it starts, but I have majority of our clients are family based. Like, we have the whole family.
That's cool.
Husband, wife, kids, the whole thing. So it just kind of turned into that thing. So it's a community where we get in, we get after it. I get everybody stronger. That's it, man. We just get after it.
That is awesome. You look like you have something you want to add there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just, it's a great place to come to transform not just your life, but your family's life. No one here feels alone in our gym. And that's probably like the best part of it. Our community just all comes together naturally to encourage everyone.
Support each other. A lot of people need a lot of support in their fitness journeys. You know, you get discouraged along the way because stuff doesn't happen overnight, right? So
No.
it's definitely a journey for sure. Well, you know, everybody loves a good story, so let's just kind of go backwards and talk about how you guys met, how you evolved, how you got to Wylie, how everything, right?
Okay. Well, how we met was through a mutual friend, and she started coming to the gym. And at first, she was kind of a hard client. Honestly.
So would you say start coming to the gym here in Wylie?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. So you guys met here in Wylie.
Yeah, so the gym was already in motion when we met.
Uh-huh.
And it was a roller coaster ride up until that point. When she came along, things changed a lot. But anyways, we met at the gym. And as she likes to say, we hung out for a little while. And then it just kind of turned into a thing. And we got married. We had a kid. And the gym is, since we've started that dynamic, the gym has just grown exponentially. I mean, it's crazy. But yeah, that's how that started. And as far as the gym started, I started the gym in 2007. I was actually working at a smaller gym here in downtown Wylie called Absolute Fitness.
Okay, I remember that.
With Jerry and Brooke, who I still keep in contact with. And just didn't have a whole lot going on, minimal clients. At that time, I was boxing. I'd had some few fights already. And I just kind of took a chance. you know. Opened up the gym in June of 2007 with barely any funds, barely any clients, and
that was strictly like boxing, right?
back then it was just strictly boxing. And it was mainly just kids. They didn't do even a whole lot of adults at the time. It was mainly just a kids program, trying to reach out into Wylie. There wasn't anything around
Yeah.
at that time, and there still really isn't. There's a couple of other gyms, but as far as
there's a lot
boxing
of
goes-
martial arts and MMA type stuff and jiu-jitsu, but not really boxing.
Yeah, like Finn goes to Scott over here at Invincible, which we love, and does jiu-jitsu over there.
Yeah.
But as far as boxing, we're the one and only. And I don't. There's been a few try to come and go, but they didn't make it down that road with us.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
No, I kind of love that. And obviously the whole purpose of our podcast is to introduce people not only to unique businesses, you know, around Wylie, but really the people behind the businesses. And like that, most people, if they come to Alpha or they come to Wylie Box, like they know who you are and they get to know both of you guys and things like that. But the average person that's never met you, never heard of you guys, then be able to hear that the kind of story of like you're working in a gym down here and you're like, there's something missing here. And so that's kind of like why we like to do this and get to know. So was there a specific reason that landed you specifically here in Wylie, or have you been here a long time, or what landed you here in Wylie?
Yeah, so Angelo Grimes, who owned the tanning salon in downtown Wylie for a long time, he brought my boxing coach out here at the time, Candyman, and gave him a gig set up with Brooke and Jerry, but he wasn't the most reliable guy. And I was kind of in between jobs, living in a one-bedroom apartment out in North Dallas, just barely making ends meet.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, you want to come out here and take the gig? There's already a heavy bag set up, a speed bag set up, you know, just whatever. And yeah, sure. So I started making the trip from North Dallas every day. It was very minimal in the beginning. I was washing cars in between sessions.
Right.
One of my clients was a car detailer, so I was just hustling where I could go to make the ends meet.
Yeah.
And that was the start. That's kind of how I got out here in Wylie. I lived in Wylie when I was a kid. Kindergarten, first grade, went to Hartman Elementary, but then we moved back to Farmers Branch. So I was here briefly when there was nothing out here.
That's very cool. That's cool though. I mean, like when we hear these stories and things, like that's some stuff that like, I mean, obviously I never knew, but even folks that may know you, man, I know, like you went to Hartman, like Hartman's here, it's right up the road. Like that's very cool.
Yeah. And I mean, even back in 2007, there was hardly much going on.
It's a different place too.
Yeah. I mean, cause I moved to Wylie in 2000 and there was like nothing in Murphy and dirt roads everywhere. And it's changed a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what was was there a moment, obviously you're talking about working at the gym and then, you know, just went over there and opened a gym, you know, but like what was the spark, or I guess the motivation behind it? Was it that you just saw there was something missing or it just wasn't working, or you like, I could do this better? Like what was it that triggered you to go, I'm just going to step out on a limb and go do this thing?
Oh, so in full disclosure, so I actually had a client named Charlie Dew, and again, another Wylie resident for years and years. She was one of my clients, and her training was very minimal. She came in, she rode the bike, we walked around the block, you know, older lady, and she just said, hey, have you ever thought about opening your own gym? And at the time, I was like, no, because I was broke and
Just working.
Yeah, just
trying to make ends meet.
Yeah, just, you know, trying to get $20 in gas to get out here. And she said, well, do you think $10 would work or $10,000 would work? And I said, I don't know. I've never had $10,000. And so next day she comes, picks me up in her Hummer, drives me to her bank, gets me a $10,000 cashier's check and says non-refundable.
Wow.
And that was that.
Wow.
And so I bought a ring, which was a huge investment.
Oh, yeah.
Paid my first and last month's rent at the building down here in downtown Wylie. And I think I might have had like maybe 1,000 or 2,000 left over.
It's got to work.
And that was it. That was
figure it
it,
out.
man. And the road was rough for a few years.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, we moved a couple of different times. But that's how it started. When I opened it, I didn't really have any intentions at the time. It just was kind of just landed in my plate, and I wasn't going to say no.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
That's the thing. When opportunity knocks, you got to be prepared and willing to take it, right? Even though it could be a challenge.
yeah, so
That's awesome.
That's how it started.
That's
awesome.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
It's a really good story.
I mean, that's a story that probably not many people know.
No, not very close people to me know that, but yeah, there's not a lot of people that know that's how it went down. I mean, I was literally working in a gym making pennies and nickels.
Yeah.
And again, it wasn't that they weren't doing well. It's just they didn't have a whole lot of clients to give me.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And
if you haven't built your following or gym or anything around that type of programming or that type of offering, then it's hard. I mean, you know, for you guys, it was probably a natural, and we're about to get into that, but that's probably a natural progression. You talked strength a little bit, and we're about to, Wes will ask that question, but it was a natural progression for y'all. But for a different gym, like if I went into Anytime Fitness right here, if I went down there and they were like, today we now offer bodybuilding classes, I'd be like, that's not what y'all are about. Like they're not going to attract a huge number of bodybuilding clients out of the gate. Right. They have to spend a bunch of money to recruit and train. And I mean, they have to do those things. But for you to open specifically, we're targeting boxing and then add a natural element in there of like, well, they kind of need to do some cardio. They probably need to lift some weights. Like it's natural to add in strength training. Yep. You know, not that everyone does. Some people stay away from it, but that's cool. I mean, but for them, yeah, it probably wasn't the easiest thing. Like, well, we got this guy and we want to do boxing, but hey, if you're a boxer, come in. And that's how most businesses market. They throw something on the internet and just assume that people are going to start showing up to box. And you're sitting back going, guys, I just need $20 to get back home at the end of the day.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah. So before we move on, let's talk to Tanya about your background and, you know, how I know now you work in the business, but I read about you're a registered nurse and all this cool stuff. So let's talk about that.
I'm actually from Wylie. I grew up in Wylie. Had a brief time where I moved to Amarillo and got my nursing degree, came back to Wylie. I spent 13 years in critical care. And when I met him and got a little bit more involved, we did some like nutrition challenges and stuff and realized that there's a big gap of what people really need when they're trying to have sustainable fat loss. And that's all kind of connected with my background of seeing people struggle in critical care when they're basically on their deathbed. Mm-hmm. A lot of it comes from preventative things. And so I decided I wanted to do more nutrition coaching for more long-term sustainable results versus something that's more short-term, like a challenge. And that's what I do full-time today.
That's awesome.
And is that a, talking about just crossover or just the offerings there at Alpha/Wylie, like, is that something offered through that, or is it like their packages? I mean, we can obviously dive into all that, but I'm assuming it's something that's connected. Are all of your clients members at Alpha, or is it a mixture, or kind of how does that usually work for you?
It's a mixture, actually. Okay. I have some that come from our gym. I have some that are local, and I actually have some people that are out of state.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I'll do virtual coaching with them.
I think it's a huge missing piece. I mean, I try to stay in a reasonable shape, if that makes sense. But, I work out, and I enjoy it, but I think that that's usually the missing piece. And I've known that for a long time, and I'm not perfect with it by any means as I drink this sugary, supposedly,
that chocolate milk is delicious.
It is delicious, but it's probably not the best one I could choose, but it's really tasty, which is usually a signal that it's not that good. But, that's usually a huge missing piece is I think that people don't know what proper nutrition is or what the appropriate, it's just, and sometimes they go through the store and they see like, oh, this is green. It's green, so that means it's got to be good. And like, oh, it's low sodium or so that, but that doesn't always mean. I had a coach in the past that he was a bodybuilder, and he was trying to give me some tips, and he's like, shop on the outer side of the grocery store. That's the only place you get to go. You don't get to go down any of the aisles. You got to shop on the outside of the grocery store, and that's your vegetables, some of your fruit, and then like meat. And, go through the dairy. And he was real pro. Obviously, being a bodybuilder, he was real pro. Eat all the meats and everything else. But that's what he said. He said, don't go down any of those aisles. Any of those aisles, it's all processed. It's all, But I think that that's a huge missing piece to have that element of you've got training side, boxing, and strength. But then you have the other side of you can come in here and do all that work, but it can all kind of be for naught, too. Like you can come in here and sweat your tail off for an hour or 2 hours, and then go home and get Dunkin' Donuts on the way home, or go home and eat like that hamburger helper stir fry, and then you just negated everything you did in here. So having that's a huge piece, because not all gyms offer that. Most don't.
Right.
That's cool.
One of the reasons why I call it like coaching is there is a lot of education, but I spend a lot of time connecting people's, like their lifestyle choices and their behaviors. It can be past experiences that are actually driving our eating patterns. So just kind of making sense with all of that, plus the education that comes with that. So that's why it's more like nutrition coaching, not protocols or templates that you follow.
It's truly a lifestyle thing. Like understand, like you said, I think everything you said is hugely important. People understand not just maybe why they choose the things they choose, but getting deeper than that. Because if it's just a diet, people fail diets or quit diets. But if it's actually a change, it's actually a lifestyle, then it's like, this is just what I do now. This is who I am. I don't make the choices that I made before because I dealt with all that. Like, I can get past that and I can follow my coach.
Right? Follow a plan.
Follow a plan.
How about that? A roadmap, if you will, to get you where you want to go.
Wylie?
No.
Oh,
Nutritional
oh, I thought you were talking about Google Maps, man.
health
I don't know.
workout roadmap to get you where you need to, where you're trying to get to,
no,
right?
for sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about, I don't know, we started out with boxing, right? We started with boxing, and how did the whole gym evolve into what we have now with Alpha Family Fitness and, you know, all the different offerings that you have?
Well, you know, mainly we wanted just to have more options in the gym, not just to be strictly a boxing club. I mean, if you talk about the heart of the gym, it's still Wylie Boxing Club, absolutely. But adding the strength program allowed us to kind of expand into that whole family thing where the parents, maybe they didn't want to box, but they want to do strength training, or, you know, the wife doesn't want to box, but she'd rather lift weights or do my program. So that's kind of where it went. And then obviously just financially, just to add more revenue to bring inside the gym. I mean, if we're being completely honest, boxing is a tough sport. It's definitely considered blue collar, so there's not a whole lot of money to be made in that side. And I did a lot of freebies for a long time. A lot of I'll get you next week's, you know, which you know, I'm blessed to have made it through all that, because there was some times where I was just like, I have no clue how we're going to make it through this month or next month, and it just worked. Something worked. Something happened every time. We would hit a wall or a hole. Something, boom, just exploded out, and we made it through it. And now we're at a consistent spot. But for me, once I got out of fighting, once I stopped competing, I kind of got into lifting weights, and I didn't do a whole lot while I was boxing. Obviously, I was a much smaller person, and I really fell in love with it. And we did the CrossFit thing for a little bit, and then we kind of fell out of that because it just felt more like a trend. And there was so many CrossFit gyms in Wylie at the time. I mean, there was 5 at one time, and Wylie wasn't that big. So we wanted to branch out and make our own brand.
Yeah.
And so we sat down with some good friends who own businesses, and we came up with Alpha Family Fitness and the brand and the mottos behind it, and it's just every year is getting better and better. I mean, we're bringing in families, and that's the cool thing about it. We're bringing in families.
Yeah, like I told you before the podcast, you know, I've got neighbors and friends that have been going to you guys for a long time, and I mean, the whole family goes there. You know, that's fine.
Somebody needs fitness.
Somebody does need fitness. So the boxing, what's your clientele demographic look like? Is it mostly kids? Is it mostly old guys like me? Is it?
So now it's everybody. In the beginning, it was mainly kids. I worked with a lot of kids. We did tournaments. I mean, we've got probably 30 to 40 Golden Glove champions, tournament champions. We have 2 amateur world champions that came through the gym. But the interest grew, and so I mean, Masters boxing, which is 35 and up, which is like you said, some of your neighbors that you know, they compete. I mean, they've got old man boxing now, and it's a thing. Yeah. It's huge. I mean, you can compete all the way up to like 70 years old. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was the live stream of
Perkins.
Barnhouse.
Oh yeah. And
I watch him every time he boxes. Yeah.
I mean, he's 9-1. I mean, he has a hard time finding fights now. You know, I mean, he's made a pretty good name for himself in the Masters.
He never took my fight. I mean, I never asked him either, but he never took mine.
But
I mean, we set something up.
No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. He's probably in Dubai or something like that anyways. He's probably busy.
Yeah, he just got back. But you know, him and Brian were one of the very first father-son duos that really did something out of my gym and really kind of helped build that, you know, interest. Like when I would come in and Jason and Brian would be there, and hey, these father and son do it too. They've been doing it together for so many years, and we have so many father-sons, daughters and moms. We have a lot of daughters and moms doing boxing now. It's really cool. So I would say the spectrum is all over now. We got 8 years old all the way to 60.
Yeah. So are they like set up for like you have specific classes during the week, or like is there an after school program, or is there anything like that?
So everything is class based, and the reason why we do that, I think it keeps everybody consistent.
Yeah.
And on a schedule. It's like we were talking about the nutrition part of lifestyle.
Yeah.
If they have a set time, they know they got to be somewhere. It gets done versus just kind of having that open window.
Yeah,
Like,
agree.
oh, hey, I'll go later, and then they don't make it.
Yeah.
So we do evening classes for boxing and strength. We have 2 boxing classes in the evening and then 1 strength, and they stagger each other. The majority of my younger kids would probably come to the 5 o'clock class, and then the majority of my older kids, the teenagers and the ones that compete and spar and all that stuff, they usually come to the later class.
Okay.
You have a lot of the families though that actually, and this is what makes things so special, is because it's kind of combined. Where you have like the parents and their kids working out together or side by side, so they're like actually involved in the process, not just kind of
Sitting on the side watching.
yeah.
Or
Yeah, like I have
the kid
2
doesn't come to this class and then the parent comes to this class. They've actually combined it and they're actually able to like learn together and
Do
grow
stuff together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a huge dynamic. I mean, that's you've seen that, and it's a missing piece. I mean, but you think about families. I even think about mine. I mean, I've got 2 younger kiddos, 2 girls, and we try to find specific things that we can do together. Now, what we've done mostly has been volleyball runs our life, especially now we're going into club season. So it's like every weekend we're traveling somewhere to go do volleyball, but it's something that we've used to bring us together. You know, like we will go play volleyball in the backyard, or we will, when we go to training, like, well, we're going to go out to eat afterwards and sit down. It's like families have to find the world we live in is so crazy and kind of busy that between school and homework and like business or work, it's like finding those moments to where something like this, where you offer it and position it as it's something to do with your family. Like you don't have to, I think some people make the decision, like if I'm going to go to the gym, they go at like 5 o'clock in the morning, because if I can't do it in the evenings, I got kids, I got to go home. I'd never see my family. I'd get off work 5, 6 o'clock. I'd have to go to the gym then. I wouldn't get home till 7 or 8, and then they've already had dinner. I think that positioning it that way and finding a way, and it's from a genuine place. Obviously, I can tell that just by talking to you guys for a few minutes, is that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Come here as a family, and you can work out literally as a family.
Yeah, and at 5 a.m. this morning, we had 2 fathers with their 2 daughters.
That's
You know what I
awesome.
mean? Their teenage daughters came with them, and so like I
5
said,
a.m.
And that's impressive.
5 a.m.
On
Yeah.
on winter break, that's impressive.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So
Dedication.
yeah, it really is. It's cool to watch, and I'm looking forward to doing the same thing with my son as he grows older. Just forming good habits and being together.
Yeah,
You know?
I think that's cool. What about? I mean, obviously we talked about Barnhouse for a little bit, but I mean, I know you've got other folks in there that compete and do things like that. I mean, obviously when you started the gym, you had 0 clients, or you had 1. You had yourself, I guess.
Well, the family thing started then. So my client then, her name was Diane, and all her boys boxed with me. You know, his name was Dito, and he was one of my first kids. And
That's awesome.
yeah, Daniel, and that's kind of like the family thing's always been there.
Yeah.
You know, we just didn't have that name for the dynamic
Attached to it.
But I can't countless families.
It's awesome.
Countless.
What are y'all at now? I mean, what does your membership look like now? Just out of curiosity. The growth that you guys have seen, I guess, over the last
we average about
14
100,
years.
probably about 125.
125. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's cool because you've got it staggered that way too. Like you said, you've got certain classes, certain days, certain times. Like you have that ability to be able to stagger. And I mean, sometimes it's cool though. If I show up sometimes and I see 60 or 80 people in there, I'm like, this is cool. You know, not that you ever stagger it that way, but you know, you stagger it in a way and you have it positioned to where, like you said, it's separated too. You've got boxing side, you've got fitness side. You know, I think that's cool the way you're able to do that. What Barnhouse, you know, we touted. He's gonna love this. He's like gonna save this whole. He's gonna save this clip as like he said 9-1. Did you hear that? 9-1.
9-1. I
the
can't get a fight.
The one was a fluke. No one wants to fight me. But let's beyond that. I mean, just other accomplishments. I mean, this is the time to brag about it. You know, you got any, up and comers? You got any? I mean, in the way that you guys compete and do your different things. Like, what does that look like? I mean, feel free to brag on them.
So I mean, this year we went undefeated. We didn't get to compete as much as we like, but all the competitions that we went to, we stayed undefeated, and Barnhouse's son Brian's one of the boys that boxes, and then we probably have about 8 to 10 that I'm looking to really get out there in 2023 that I've been working with a lot. Unfortunately, after COVID, things kind of died down for a little bit. It took a long time for these tournaments to kind of start regressing and getting back opened up, and they haven't even had Dallas Golden Gloves for the last 2 years, but the word on the street is they're going to have it this coming year, which usually the end of January, beginning of February, so it's right around the corner.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we've had multiple. I mean, well over 20 Golden Glove champs.
That's awesome.
Again, Justin Wisnett, his family is local. That he won the world championships up in Missouri. He had to fight 4 days in a row.
Jeez.
Kids from Canada, Indianapolis, just all over the place. And then even my uncle at the age of 70, he's been getting after it. He won the Masters in his age bracket at World Championships like 2 or 3 times.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's an interesting character.
Wes, I'm just saying. I mean,
So let's talk. Let's see what are the age brackets up there.
So they go in 5-year increments.
Okay.
So like 35 to 40, 45, or 40 to
50 to
45.
55.
Yeah.
I'm 53, so
you're right in the middle.
I'm right there.
Right there in the middle, man.
And they go,
I'd come
they
watch.
try to match up as much as they can by like experience.
Yeah.
I mean, it's blowing up though. I mean, it really is. The Masters boxing is something
that's cool.
Just a bunch of old guys, reliving the dream, like
He
Al
says,
Bundy,
okay.
like the Al Bundys,
Wes is the perfect example because we're going to tell the story. I think I told the story already.
the story.
So, I haven't, recently, but this year I play adult softball. And usually it's like the only time I play now. I used to go to tournaments, used to do the whole thing. And as I've gotten older, and just own a business now and do all these things, like I don't have time to like go on a Saturday and be there from 7 a.m. until Sunday at 1 a.m. Like I don't have time to do that. And it's just a big party, like that's all it is. I'm like, I just don't have time to do all that. But I'll go play like mostly with neighborhood guys. Like they started it's like a rec team and I go play. But Wes gives me the hardest time just like going out there to because I'll come back and be like, oh, I hit a home run last night, hit a dinger, whatever. He's like, oh, just out there reliving those glory days. Like he just gives me a hard time. And I'm like, yeah, I mean a little bit, but I think it's cool. I mean, the senior division of adult softball. There are tournaments in Florida, and I've been to some of them, not the senior ones. I'm not quite that old. I'm getting there. I feel like it. My body feels that way. But
From playing that softball.
no, that helps. That helps. But, it's huge because I think part of it's reliving the glory days. You go out there with this baseball bat that's
we're
like
older,
hotter.
we're not dead,
And I think the other side of it is they want to stay active. They want to stay active and they want to do those things. So, I mean, it sounds like Wes is signing up. That's what I'm hearing.
I mean, I've thought about it.
Okay. I mean, I'll come. Wes, I shoot video for a living.
I'll get Barnhouse to get in your ear.
He'll be down at my house.
I
every
shoot
day.
video for a living. I mean, I think we put together like a real cool promo reel. We'll get some
Right.
smoke machines.
Strobe lights.
Strobe lights, whatever you need.
Yeah, I'm down.
Get you a
All
website
right,
going.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Oh, my gosh. All right. So I think where are we at now?
Well,
Oh, you got something?
I want to talk about these cold ice
Oh, yeah.
dips.
Oh, yeah.
I saw on your website where it's at, but you've got this cold tank.
So I've been doing cold showers for a long time. Obviously, in summertime in Texas, you can't really get a cold shower. But
Right.
I've also done cryo for a long, long time as well. And these cold plunges kind of came about, and it's real popular. Like Joe Rogan talks about, like there's a lot of big time guys doing it, and so
Tons of benefits.
Andrew Huberman, who's a great guy who gives out a lot of literature about just overall health and stuff. The benefits of cold immersion is limitless almost. She can kind of go more into details on that. She's definitely done a lot of studying on it. But yeah, you just, the one that we have, it's got a chiller, so it goes down to 39 degrees, and I can adjust it where we want it to go. Anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes a session or 11 minutes a week. But, I mean, it's recovery. It can help with your immune system, your metabolism. Again, she can kind of dive deep more into that. But it's awesome. I love it just the way it makes me feel. We've had it for a week. We got it last Tuesday.
Oh, so it's new.
It's new. It's
Yeah,
brand
it's
new.
brand
Yeah.
new.
Brand new. Okay.
I've heard a lot of, and I'm gonna let the expert talk, but I have looked into it. Like the recommendation, like I saw somewhere like, start with like a cold bath, to work your way. But I've read a lot of crazy benefits, like just the levels that increase in your body, like all of it. But I'm gonna let the expert talk because I just sound like
I mean, this
uneducated.
stuff, I get these ice baths on my TikTok all the time where they got these horse trough.
You're on
things.
the ice bath side of
And
TikTok.
they break the ice and they get in, and I'm like, that's got to be freezing, And then Kevin Hart does that interview thing where they get in the ice bath. Yeah. I mean, I guess with a tank of water and ice, you really can't regulate the temperature as well as you can with the tub you guys have.
That's the thing. Yeah. Your body will regulate that temperature, obviously. Even like if you were to put ice in your bathtub, like it might start out at 55 degrees, but your heat from your body will rise that temperature up. This chiller keeps that temperature the same. The water constantly moving, which actually makes it even colder.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's I love it. But yeah, I mean, like I said, if Tanya wants to elaborate a little bit more on
Let's
it.
do that. Let's talk about the benefits of that.
The interesting part is, in critical care, when we see people that come, they've been down for a while, or they don't have any like contraindications, we actually cool them for about 24 hours to help with preserving brain cells and to prevent from brain damage. So it's interesting to read the benefits with the cold plunge, which research is saying is to help with inflammation. So if someone has like chronic inflammation, mitigating that, mitigating stress, boosting your mood because it helps with elevating your dopamine, and then to stimulating brown fat thermogenesis, which is supposed to be the driving thing where they say like it boosts your metabolism. So your brown fat is more metabolically active than your white fat, which is supposed to indirectly help with blood sugar regulation as well. So there's a lot of things that we're still learning about.
Yeah, sure.
That I'm going to be following.
Science.
But I'm super excited to follow some of our clients that are using that just to kind of see like overall, like how is their performance improving? How is their, weight loss? Is it changing, with some of my clients that are very consistent. So we're excited about it.
It's awesome.
It's cold.
Oh yeah,
It's cold.
I bet. I mean, I've done cryo before and loved it. I mean, it gets cold in that tank. But like to just I don't know, man. Jumping in a cold tub full of water.
And they are saying that the delivery of the actual cold plunge or being immersed in the water is different than the cryo. Just by the way that the heat transfers from the body into the air.
Like I've watched videos of people doing this, and when they first get in, their breathing is like really fast, and then their body like adapts and they calm down, and it's more like a panic at the beginning.
Absolutely. For everybody's first time, even mine, you definitely get in. It's like, whoa, you know what I mean?
You're right.
Probably not that language, something else.
Yeah.
But you definitely working on your breathing, and just, you go to that place. And I mean, everyone that's done it so far, that after about 2 minutes, they're in it.
It is all about the breathing to be able to like stay there and be able to get like the optimal benefits. Yeah. Because when you actually do dive in, it stimulates the sympathetic part of your nervous system, which is you go into fight or flight. Like you're ready.
Get me out of here.
Yeah. And the whole notion is to control your breathing, which kind of taps back into the parasympathetic part of your nervous system, which is the calm part. So, I mean, it is training you to be able to regulate that part. Just think if something like really bad was going to happen, like being able to kind of control.
Stay calm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
Which is a benefit for other reasons, not just for health. Just to be able to like
mindset,
just stay calm.
Grit, and so we're excited. There's no one else around that has that to offer. I mean, there's cryo tanks and stuff around, but as far as like having that cold tub, where the temperature is regulated, we can control it. We're the only one around, so we just like I said, we just got it, so we're excited to bring it to Wylie in the surrounding areas.
I think I need to come videotape you getting in the cold tub.
That'd be kind of cool. I could do that.
You set that up.
I could do that. I mean, we do. So my company does we do these videos around town. I think that could be. We might have to feature Alpha on one of these, and that could be part of it. Is like y'all throw me in that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll let you go around. We'll let you go around with Barnhouse and then throw you in the tub.
I didn't say all that. I said most of my shots are B-roll.
Now
like
here we go. Okay, this is setting up to be really good.
I think it had to be Wes because he's really interested.
Couple of rounds with Barnhouse.
Couple of rounds. That's not what he said.
That's about all he's got right now, anyways.
Y'all
You
can
heard it
come
here
do
first.
a workout and then do the cold plunge. That's the best time to do it.
Like,
So
what is the
after the workout, you do the cold plunge?
Depends on your goals. Okay. So if you're looking to build muscle hypertrophy, you would want to wait about 2 hours. For someone like that's boxing, doing that kind of stuff, immediately after beneficial. There's also studies out there right now that show that doing it about 30 minutes before you work out is supposed to boost your testosterone up to about 500%.
Wow.
That I've seen some videos on that. Yeah.
And then I did one last night where you do it at night before you go to bed. So I did it right before I left the gym, went home, took a shower, and that's supposed to help improve your HRV, which mine is currently pretty low just with my habits and sleeping,
Yeah.
insomnia and stuff, and it actually went up 12 points.
Wow.
In one night. So that's obviously longevity. It needs to be something you do on a regular
Yeah,
basis.
yeah.
But there's so many benefits.
Well, it's
to
kind
it.
of cool that you can test it though. I mean, like for you, I mean, it's yours, right? So
Right.
like, but you can go in there and be like, okay, I'm gonna try it before a workout.
Oh,
Okay, I'm
absolutely.
gonna try it after. I'm just gonna see what the different. Now, obviously, like you said, longevity but immediate, like what happens, and it's kind of cool to know. I mean, I'm sure that's something for y'all to both know, like you said, watching your clients, but being able to sit back and go, okay, I tried these all in different phases. Tried it before, tried it after, tried it during. Try all these different ways, and here's what I felt immediately. But then like the long term effects of like what do I like the most? Like what made me feel the best for how I work out and train?
If I was to say right now, doing it the 30 minutes before the workout, and then getting out, taking my pre-workout, moving around, I feel
It's got to wake you up, like just like boom.
I said that's got to be a pre-workout in and of itself.
two times that I've done that, I've had amazing workouts.
I think it does wake you up in the sense of like that clarity. Who's going to wake up when
Sure.
you dive into a little water of like 40 degrees, but then also like the concept of it, it's the way that your body is able to stay cool during a workout. Because if you get overheated, your heart rate's elevated, your breathing's elevated, and all that stuff. So, but if your body is able to stay cool, you don't have those side effects. And you're able to work out longer or get more in your workout. But it's just being careful with the timing because you obviously want your muscles to be warmed up to be able to do those
Sure.
things. So that's why they have like that window of time.
So, is there like a maximum amount of times you'd want to do this in a week, or a minimum? I mean, or could you do it every day?
So the research is
You're gonna go ahead, baby.
the research is saying like at least minimum of 11 minutes total per week. That's a good place to start. Maximal time is 5 minutes per session. But if you wanted to get in 4 hours in a week and you're staying at that 5 minute top out per session, I mean,
have
that's
to space
fine.
it out, yeah.
It's going to be by individual.
Sure.
Like some people might find their peak at, hey, I'm good at this certain degrees at 5 minutes and I'm getting 20 minutes in a week and I feel great.
Right.
So it's but they are saying like the minimal time to see the best benefits or to at least start to feel the benefits at the 11 minutes in the 7-day period.
That makes sense.
It's cool.
Yeah, I was wondering if there was a drop off on, you could do it too much and not get the full benefits, and versus.
I've been doing it every day, sometimes twice a day. I'm battling a little bit of a back injury. I got a couple of herniated discs, and it really seems to help with my nerve pain
Okay.
a lot. So
you're the type of person that would benefit more by getting in it more often than.
in just a week of doing it, I mean, I feel almost 100% normal, even though I know I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
I'm getting there. It's definitely helped out a whole lot. So I think, and you've seen guys too, they'll do it longer. That anything past 5 minutes, as far as benefit wise goes, I don't think there's anything there. It's more of just grit.
Yeah.
wanting to do
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Toughen
How
it
long
out.
can you last?
Yeah, how long can you last? Which we're not really promoting that in our gym at all. We're more of the health benefits.
Got like a
you know?
record on the
I
wall.
mean, it's who's the alpha of the cold tank? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No real benefits there, to be honest. That's funny. Now, it's funny because I'll let Wes move us on after that, but I have a guy that he's a big, I guess you say fitness. He does CrossFit, does all kinds of stuff, but he's a friend of mine on Facebook. And I don't know him. He's one of those guys. Like, I don't know him like super directly, but we added at some point. But he's up in, I think, Minnesota, and he's always promoting on his his page just like different workouts, different things he's doing, and it's not his business by any means, but he's just trying to help. Well, he went out and he posted all of the progress videos. He went out to their swimming pool and he cut a hole in the ice. I mean, it's frozen up there right now. He cut a hole in it, and he submerges himself in that. And he posted a video the other day. He's like, I'm addicted. Like he has like the stacks of ice out, and like he's full down in the pool. I mean, he's got a huge. At first, when he first did it, the first time there was like a small opening. I'm like, that sketches me out. Like you're gonna get lost. Like and that's scary to me. I had to watch. It worked because I watched the whole video because I was like, does he make it out? Like somebody pressed stop on the video, so somebody made it out. But now he did. He was like, he did his progression. He documented it to show people. And he does the same thing. He's in there a few minutes. He's not in there a very long time. But just the benefits he's gotten out. He's like, for those of y'all that were curious, this cold submersion. Then like the original first time he did it, he got out. He was like, that sucked. I was like, oh. But then second, third, fourth, I've seen his last few videos, and it's like he's like, this is incredible. Like, I feel fantastic. I wake up better. I feel better after my workouts. Like, and I think he's done the same thing. He's tried it at different times.
It'll be different for everybody.
Sure.
But again, a weekend, and I can tell you, I mean, based off all the science that's out there about it anyways, personally, I feel amazing.
That's awesome.
And I'm addicted. I love that thing. I mean, I'm glad we got it.
Right.
So whose idea was it to get it?
It was mine.
Was it?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we were on a road trip, and I was like, "Hey, by the way, I'm buying this thing."
That's great.
She's probably like, okay,
She's like, all right.
there's benefits. So as we move on here, is there, I have the question here, what sets you guys apart? I think we talked a lot about what sets you guys apart, but if we could just like tell the audience that are maybe just now tuning in, what is the huge selling feature of Alpha Family Fitness right now?
I can go first on that one, and then you can elaborate on that. One, we've been here for 15 years. We're the longest standing gym in Wylie, at least small gym. And I think the main thing that sets us apart from all the other gyms is it's just us. We don't have any other coaches. You're not going to get something different every time you come in.
Mm-hmm.
We don't not that other gyms just put bodies in gyms, but it's definitely out there.
For sure.
Get somebody to go get a weekend certification, or somebody can throw a jab cross really good. You let them start teaching classes, and it just kind of loses that realness. And so when they come, they get me every day, every class. We have about 25 classes a week. I teach all the classes, so they know what they're going to get when they show up. And I think that's if I was to say one of the big things that sets us apart is that just consistency. Our programming is very dynamic. I mean, I dive into different modalities all the time. I'm not just stuck in one way. I take a mix of old school and put it with a lot of the stuff that we're learning today, as obviously fitness evolves every year. But that's probably going to be the biggest difference between us and others. And then obviously the boxing. I mean, there's not another gym around. There's MMA and jiu-jitsu, but there's not anyone that just teaches Western style boxing and is a USA boxing gym and has my experience. I mean, like I said, I've been in the game for about 25 years and been coaching for 15. So
I think it's a big deal. I heard something the other day, and this will just tie right into what you just said. I was listening to the radio, and said, "Do you enjoy fitness? Have you ever thought about making money with fitness? Get certified in as short as 4 hours." And I laughed by myself, which is funny. But I'm in the car, and I went, I don't want anyone coaching me in anything that they became certified in 4 hours. Anything.
Exactly.
Okay, electrician, contractor, fitness, computer technician. I don't care. If you earned your certification in 4 hours, please don't talk to me. Yeah. So I think it's important. And it's happening, though. There are personal trainers popping up and going to, and we won't name any of the big gyms, but they go and, I'm a personal trainer. And I've seen some of these personal trainers. I'll be like, do you train yourself? Because, and I'm not judging you. I'm just saying you're a personal trainer.
You'll learn if you talk to some people about me. I'm a very upfront coach.
That's great.
I don't sugarcoat anything. I'm actually a pretty rough coach.
That's good.
But there is. I mean, you can go out and get a weekend certification. You can do, online now.
Yeah.
I mean, my last one took me almost 8 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to learn on the things that I want to go. And I went that route years and years ago when I was still new in the game. I did the weekend certification for CrossFit, and once you do that, you can pay the money, and you're an affiliate.
Yeah.
You can do this in a weekend, and you have 0 to a little bit of experience. And I know some people that have done that.
Yeah.
So yeah, the experience factor is there, definitely is a benefit for what I can promote and what we put out there. But I would say 90% of certifications are online and quick.
Yeah.
Just a piece of paper.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, you talk, you guys have a wide range of age groups that come to your gym. We talk about kids all the way to their parents and 70-year-olds boxing in the classic league and whatnot. Is there a difference in how you train those people based on their age? And also, I guess, in what they want to accomplish, right? So there could be a multitude of variation in training, right?
So yes and no. I treat, if you're 8 and you want to be part of the class, you got to step up.
Okay.
I treat everyone the same. The kids that compete, yes, they get a little bit more from me because they're obviously competing.
Sure.
And it's seasonal. Like if we're a couple weeks away, then I let everyone know, like, hey, the next few weeks, this is what's going to be happening. I expect everyone to do this while I'm working with this. But at the end of the day, I mean, I let everyone know I'm a very technical coach.
Mm-hmm.
So when they come in, if they're looking to, be a cardio hour, that they probably should go somewhere else. That's not, we don't do like the power hour cardio, like 1, 2, 1, 2. You're doing a good job. Hey.
Yeah.
It's very dynamic. It's very technical. I have some kind of criteria weekly, like, hey, this week we're working inside work. We're going to be working body shots. This week we're working angles. It's always going to be some kind of criteria. It's never just a win.
Yeah.
So I would say I treat everyone pretty much the same.
In the boxing area, right? So what happens if somebody wants to and they're just come to work out, right? To lift weights, and they want to bulk up or they want to trim down. Do you customize a program for them based on that, or is everybody doing the same thing?
So we have community programming, which means for everybody, but then I have programming on the side for anyone who wants to do different. Like we have a guy named Trey who's done some of the programs that I've done. He's more into the strongman stuff, and if the way that's mediated is like, hey, if you're wanting to just lean up, this is your goal, then this is where you should keep your weights and your reps.
Sure.
And then if I have someone that's really wanting to get stronger or bulk up, then I give them more of a protocol. So even no matter what the workout is that day, it just depends on how it's performed. You can get different benefits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like if it's today we're doing, like today was back squat for 5 sets of 15. You could really take that to the house.
Oh, yeah.
Or you could just kind of wing it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
everybody's different. And then the dynamic with the accessory work after that, same thing. Like you can really go for it, or you're just here to just put the work in.
Sure.
And I know who is who.
Yeah.
We're small enough to where I can really get in depth with each client. So I know when they come in, like I know what so-and-so's over there doing, and okay, you're good. But then I'm over here, let's get to work because you got goals.
It's the intensity level that the person
Everyone's
brings.
different,
Yeah.
So and that's a good thing too. We all work together, but at the same time, some people are a little bit more into it than others, and that's okay. We don't borderline on that.
That's awesome. I think it makes sense. I mean, it's just small tweaks can make all the difference in the world. Same basic programming, but small tweaks, intensity, weight levels, things like that can make all the difference in what it does for you or doesn't do for you. What is I'm kind of wrapping up, getting close here, but what is on the horizon for you guys? Obviously, you got a cold tank. But is there any big things that you guys have planned for 2023 that, I mean, there may be some things that you're like, well, we don't want to throw that out there yet. But, I mean, what's on the horizon for Alpha and Wylie Boxing this next year? Obviously, you mentioned Golden Gloves. Hopefully, they open that back up and you guys will go. But just what's anything big and exciting that you guys are thinking about working on?
On my side, just getting the kids competing.
Yeah.
And then consistency. I'm all about my members being consistent. That's the main thing that we try to build in our gym is consistent goals, consistent attendance, that kind of thing. I mean, I don't really see anything. We had a great year.
Yeah.
I want to just keep the ball rolling.
Keep momentum going.
I don't really have anything special planned. I mean, I've got some new programming that we've been working on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're hoping to possibly be able to bring a boxing competition to Wylie.
Oh, yeah, so
That would
there's
be cool.
the
Hoping it comes this year, if not, definitely next year. But
I think it's definitely going to happen this year.
2023?
I forgot about that. Yeah. So a good member of ours, he's got me in contact with the guys at the Armory over here in Wylie, and there's an area where we can set up in there.
Oh, that'd be cool.
We just got to pick the date. It'll probably be summertime, but we would like to start doing it annually.
Yeah.
So every year, the same time that every year, have a competition. And make it a 2-day competition so we can have as many kids compete as possible, and then also make it, if possible, it's kind of that's where it kind of gets tricky, and I haven't really worked on it yet, is being able to have just your average, age group to the masters actually compete in it too. So, like for instance, like Barnhouse, one of his biggest hopes is to let him and Brian compete in the same tournament.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be awesome, and they both win. Oh my gosh, Yeah. So that's kind of the goal here, is to make a competition where it can be youth and masters.
Yeah.
There'll be some work to be done.
Sure.
But we're in cahoots. Like I said, the guys got me the dates. I'm just trying to get through this year before we get into it. And Golden Gloves, more than anything, I'm waiting for Golden Gloves to kind of say, hey, here's the date, and then get the kids
jump
ready
on it.
Excuse me, and then get the kids ready for that. And then after that, I can start focusing on what we want to do.
That's awesome.
But that is, you're
Thanks.
right. I forgot about that.
Big stuff.
It's awesome. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that'd be
that's
cool.
something I would definitely come.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
watch.
you if you only knew a guy that promotes stuff locally,
Right.
It's me.
Oh,
Just
no,
call me.
yeah, we'll
now you just
definitely-
reach out to me.
we'll definitely
I'll
be
get
in
the word
touch.
out on that for sure.
No, and if we do it, we'll do it right. I mean,
I love that.
I'll put some time and effort and money into it. It's
For
not
sure.
gonna be nothing.
I think it'd be a big deal. I mean, I
won't be
think
a small show.
there's probably a lot of people that would, I'm thinking of just in my head, even of organizations that would want to get involved and then be behind that. And yeah, we can talk about that. That'd be cool.
Yeah. So before we wrap up, I want to touch on this. What are your thoughts on Jake Paul?
It's a joke.
It's a joke.
Hear
that, Jake?
It's like
You heard it
anything
here.
else. It's a trend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like anything else, I think if you ask me, the whole YouTube and TikTok thing will die down like everything else does.
Yeah.
He's eventually gonna. I mean, if they're not fixed fights,
Right.
he'll eventually run into somebody who's gonna knock his out.
Yeah.
But kudos to the guy for making money.
I mean, he appears to be training. I mean, he appears
he's training, and him and his brother put in the work, and they've done what they've done. They built an empire, and I mean, like I said, I'm not hating on him. I don't get into all that stuff. I'm a purist. I like real boxing, and
Would Fury knock him out?
that's
That's the fight I was waiting on.
That's-
That's what I was sitting back, and then hopefully, I mean, they'll fix it or figure it out. But I was waiting on that fight. That's the fight I thought was gonna happen. I was like, this is the one.
so. Being in the shadows of his brother, what
Yeah.
I mean. I get it, but yeah, if it was a real fight,
Yeah,
and it wasn't some kind of joke or fixed fight,
money making thing.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
he would knock him out. There's a lot of guys out there
Because he's a
that-
real boxer.
Yeah, I mean, he's talking about washed up. You don't call him washed up, but like Nate Diaz or Nick Diaz.
Yeah.
Those guys are scrappy guys, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's been training a little bit, and
I
I
would
get it.
love for him to fight Nate Diaz. Like,
They would make a lot of money.
but I want it to be an actual fight. Like, I want
Yeah.
Nate to be able to throw legs and everything.
I don't think that'll ever happen. I
don't think it will either.
But
No.
regardless, there's a lot of money to be made in that.
Sure.
And again, I'm not a big fan of it. But
Well, they set the stage for it. I mean, they've done it before. I mean, obviously with like celebrity stuff, but I mean, they set the stage for it with Floyd and Connor. I mean, when they did that, I mean, don't get me wrong, they got my money, but I was like, I know exactly what they did. I mean, I watched all the promo, I watched everything behind it, and then I watched the actual fight, and I was like,
yeah,
turn the thing off. I saw what they did. They made a ton.
Floyd
Ton of money.
carried that fight, let Connor work for a little while.
Yeah.
He was never in danger.
No.
He was hitting gloves the whole time.
Yeah.
And then he waited for him to gas out, which everyone knew he was going
Oh,
to.
of course.
And then he just took him to town and embarrassed him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
And they walked away millions
yeah.
of dollars richer. That's what it is.
and they're both still making money. You know what I mean?
for sure.
But what's
Floyd's-
really cool is like, I don't know much about the technical aspect of boxing, but it's like somebody like you that spent your whole life boxing, and you can see behind the facade that's going on in the ring during the bout, and it's like, oh, I see exactly what they're doing.
Absolutely. There's no. When I watch that, I don't see anything pure about it. I don't feel
Yeah.
like I'm like there's something in stake. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
when you watch some of these world championship fights and these guys that been training their whole life, to get to that moment, and then you got these guys that are just living the celebrity life and get there and do it. Again, that's the world we live in. People are all about that. We're losing the purity a little bit, but there's still purists out there, and I hope that we
Yeah.
Need to
still
bring
stay
back
out
the
there.
sweet science, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Did I just date myself?
Maybe. It's all right.
Well,
It's okay.
yeah. All right. So anyway, I guess we're getting to the end of this. We're almost at an hour, but is there anything else that we didn't cover that you want Wylie is the audience out here to know about you guys or Alpha Family Fitness?
Well, I'll add something because Wes won't say this.
Uh-oh, here we
I
go.
have no idea what she's going to say.
Just kind of going back to like what separates our gym from other gyms. And, we can say it's a community. We have a great community, but it honestly starts with the leader. And that is Wes. And I think people might argue and say I'm a little biased. My husband, right? But I think the fact that we have like a retention rate of like most people stay with us for years, and that's hard for a gym to retain a person for a year.
Yeah, most people are like doing New Year's resolutions, and
Yeah,
2
And-
months they're done, right?
Or just finding something different,
Yeah.
Right.
and Wes gets. I mean, he's had kids. He's trained kids since like 6, 7 years old, and they're coming back. After college,
That's always
wanting
fun.
to work.
That's
That is
cool.
pretty cool. It is.
You really got to watch a lot of your kids grow up. And they come back and you just had another kid come and
Gabriel.
he had kids. And
So-
it was like, I want my kids to work out with you. So it's just, we get like generations. And I think that speaks a lot to
That's huge.
what
That's
Wes
a big deal.
brings
Yeah.
into the community.
I'll close with this for you guys to kind of give you an idea of the way I coach. So there's a young man that's boxing with me now, and when he was 12, 13 years old, he was boxing with me. And at that time, I had a pretty strong stable of kids. I had about 6 or 7 just killers. We were going and cleaning house at all the tournaments, and he was kind of on the lower spectrum of that group. So he would, he'd get the better part of the whoopings in the sparring sessions, but that's just kind of part of it. They all went through that, And he had a spar session with me when he was a kid, and we're training in the facility we used to be in. The gym, the ring is at the front of the door, and the sun's beating in there at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And these kids are, they're working hard, and I guess the dad, I don't know if it was the boy or the sister, told the dad that, coach just let him get whooped up, blah, blah, blah. So I got this really dirty message from his dad saying, you think you're this, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, he pulled him out. And then fast forward 2 years ago, I get a call, and the number's still on my phone. I have a terrible habit about deleting numbers out of my phone. And I answer it, and he goes, hey, this is so-and-so's dad. He wants to come back. Is it all right? And I didn't even, I was like, absolutely, come back. He went to another gym, didn't do real well, lost a couple fights, came to me, trained, and he's won his last 3. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the mentality that I make these young kids where, you'll hear people like Barnhouse talk about it too. Like, I expect, especially out of these teenage boys that want to do it, I expect them to show up and do the work. I don't want to have to pull it out of them.
Yeah.
And so that's probably, like my wife was saying, and I appreciate that, is that I'm not there to hold hands. We don't do participation trophies. Brian didn't get his match last time, and they were going to give him a trophy. I was like, you don't get that trophy. You didn't fight.
You got to earn it.
You can earn it. So, I think a lot of the parents respect that. There's some parents that don't. I've had parents who are like, oh, your little Timmy thinks it's too hard, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, well then.
It's probably not the place for you.
Yeah, that's
okay.
He's gonna have a rough time when he gets older, but that's okay. You know what I mean?
That'll be okay.
But
Not everything is a good fit for everybody.
no, it's not. But I train them to be strong young men and to be confident. And I've seen kids really grow up, and like she said, they come back. It's pretty awesome.
That is cool.
They'll go to
I love
college,
that.
they come back, and it's good. It makes me feel good.
I think that's super cool. Well, I had a blast this podcast.
Dude, yeah.
I learned a lot. I think we learned a
did
lot
too.
about, the back end side of it too, from the nutrition side to the boxing and to, training and strength. I think it's just very, very cool. And thank you guys.
Thank
y'all.
you for
appreciate
having
it.
Thank y'all
us.
for
so
being here.
much.
If you are, and we're talking to just the Wylie folks, if you're looking for, you're somewhere now and you want something different, you feel like a piece is missing, or you're wanting to get involved in boxing, you want to know more about it, Alpha Family Fitness, they can look you guys up. You're over there by Wylie Elite, correct? Y'all are
Yes.
over in that complex
Right
there by
behind
Wylie
Kroger.
Elite and
Yes,
Red
sir.
Door Dance by Kroger.
Right
all
next
that.
door to the Red Door. Yep.
So you guys know where they're at, but I think
We'll
they're
tag them.
Of course.
We'll tag them on
Tag 'em in the post.
Yep. Tag them.
But yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys again for being
Thank
here.
you.
That was a lot of fun. Wes, I don't have a whole lot after that. I think we do need to tell everybody Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I think this is probably the last podcast for the year until first couple weeks of January. But
Absolutely.
it's been a good comeback.
Finishing
season.
strong
We
this
are.
year.
We are literally. I see what you did there.
You like that? Tie that in. You like that?
job.
All right.
job.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for coming.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
This episode of the Live, Love, Wylie podcast is brought to you by the Dorsey Realty Group and Speak Loud Media.